Thank you.
And there we are.
One of the disadvantages of being live is that what you see is what you get. But today, for those of you who are politically inclined, I have a guest in the studio, Jill Ravitch, and she is running for the office of district attorney. We all know that DA stands for district attorney, but what else do we know about that particular position? And so rather than all of the BS that's being reported in the paper, I wanted to know the basics. And so Jill has agreed to answer our questions, and she's going to start by telling us a little bit about herself and why she wants to be DA, and then we'll go further. Of course, you can call in, and I'll show you the number later, but first let's just take a minute and meet Jill. Jill, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Ida. It's always fun to do a live program because you never know what's going to happen. It's a little bit like being a trial attorney when you're standing in front of the jury asking questions of witnesses. So there's always a challenge with the spontaneity that occurs. But it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. And my first question, and I just say I'm nosy, is what does the DA do, and why do you want to do it?
Okay, well that's a nice open-ended question. Well, first of all, there is a district attorney in every county in our state. We have 58 counties in California. And the district attorney is the chief law enforcement officer. The district attorney is the one who runs an office full of prosecutors whose job is to investigate and prosecute criminal cases. So what happens is, I give the example of somebody breaking into a vehicle. Let's say we leave here after we finish taping today, actually not taping, after the live program today, and you find that your car's been broken into. What you're going to do is call the police department and you're going to make a report. A police officer is going to come out and investigate what happened with your vehicle, perhaps take some fingerprints off the car, compare them, and come up with a suspect. The officer will go on and determine whether or not that suspect indeed is responsible for the theft from your car. Maybe the person will make an admission, or there will be other evidence tying those fingerprints to whoever broke into your car. The case is then put together and submitted to the DA's office. At that point, a prosecutor is going to review the police report and determine whether or not to file charges. So the first case is, do we have somebody who's committed a criminal act, and should criminal charges be filed? Part of that is going to be what charges should be filed against the offender. And the prosecutor is going to take a look at the nature of the offense, the seriousness of the offense, the background of the person who they're considering filing charges against, whether or not they have prior theft offenses, whether or not they've been convicted of other offenses in the past. And then ultimately the prosecutor will make a decision what, if any, charges to bring. Once a case is filed, there'll be a deputy district attorney who will appear in court from the very first time the person is brought before the judge all the way through the conclusion.
Hold on a minute. That was a lot of information, and I'm writing as fast as I can write. The district attorney makes the decision as to whether or not the facts warrant filing criminal charges.
Correct.
In the district attorney's sole discretion?
That's right. It's up to the DA to decide whether or not to file charges. It's an incredibly important job with a lot of responsibility. You're talking about someone's liberty. So the DA is going to decide whether or not to charge the individual and what charges to bring.
Okay, my jaw just got tight. That means because you see, you said the district attorney, prior to filing charges, looks at the accused, if you will, background and all of that stuff.
Correct.
To assist them, him, her, in deciding whether or not that's too loosey-goosey.
Well, that's the way it works. I mean, A lot of people are worried about unbridled power on the part of the police. So in essence, the DA is acting as a check, because the police may go out and arrest somebody, and the DA is going to take a look at it as a lawyer and determine whether or not there is sufficient evidence to charge the individual. Ultimately, there will be a check on the decision by the DA, and that check will be in the form of the judge, the jury, and also the defense attorney, who will come in to defend the person if charges are brought.
But this discretion, that is a lot of power. And in this town, well, in any town, okay, I'll bite my tongue.